Hello, welcome to this 25-10 game. I'm kind of surprised because I requested both a 5-minute and this kind of format, and I'm expected to get a 5-minute game. Okay, so Kings Indian or Grunfeld. So a Kings Indian it is. Yeah, the H3 line, very popular nowadays. It's really competing with mainline status with Bishop E2 in terms of popularity on the top level. Yeah, black now mostly can choose between a C5 based setup or an E5 based setup. E5 based ones are far more popular. And now again, black has a choice, knight a6, a5 or knight h5. So he's going a5. Okay. Okay, I'm going g4. I'm not completely sure about the move orders here. If bishop e3, bishop g5 is better here first, or g4. I will see. G4 at least completely makes sure that knight h5 is not going to happen. Preparing a quick f5. Maybe here I can even delay this bishop development sometime. Quite often the bishop feels best on e3, where it is securely anchored by the f2 pawn, especially important in case of a later f5. Wow. That's a very radical decision. Going h5. Interesting. I have a couple of options now. I can try to let him take on g4. I can play g5. Or I can play knight h2, and knight h2 instantly looks like the right move actually. Keeping the pawn on g4 and trying to provoke him into capturing. Knight h2, h takes g4, h takes g4, bishop, knight h7. This is something that he could try. Going for knight to g5. Yeah, that's maybe an idea. There are also ideas to try to give this pawn there, bishop g5 for example. H takes g4. Bishop g5, h takes g4, knight h2 for example. Or knight d2 even. Knight d2, g takes h3, queen f3 for example. That's very dangerous for black. Knight bd7, bishop h3, that looks... Nah, that doesn't look good. Bishop g5 takes on g4, knight d2. Is this really a good idea? He might just move the queen. Huh? That's certainly possible. Bishop g5 takes, knight d2. I wonder... Yeah, but knight d2 should be right. Also accelerating the development. Bishop g5 takes, knight d2, queen e8, something like that maybe. I don't want to take on f6, of course. Not totally convinced. Another good option is g5. after which f5 looks very difficult to play. This is a relatively simple solution to this. It doesn't feel like trying to exploit black's play here to the fullest though. This is more a move like bishop g5. If he takes knight h2, he might take h3 there. This is getting far more interesting in this case. Yeah, g5 is much easier to play. Bishop g5 takes on g4, knight d2, queen e8. This is the line that irritates me. I don't want to take on f6, and taking on g4 is also wrong. I don't really have any good tempo move there. It feels like some compensation, but I'm not really sure if it is an adequate one. And it is very annoying if it wouldn't work, and after a move like g5, white just has a very nice position without any problems. Difficult. If I go bishop g5, takes, and just recaptures, let's say. Takes, bishop g4, bishop h3. Is this something? I can probably take black queen d7. So not really. Okay, I'm going g5. Long think there, but it was a very important moment here, because the game is entirely different if I play bishop g5. Okay, so here an interesting moment. I can go rook g1 is a possible move, or just bishop e3 first. I think I'm starting with this. Not quite sure if I need rook g1. And unclear if I need it right here in this position. An interesting question is if I can try something really brutal, like let's say rook g1, bishop e2, knight h4, take on h5. This kind of attacking scheme can be quite dangerous if it really gets to be played like I just said, if he's not stopping it beforehand, which is very likely possible. So he wants to go to c5, yes. Yeah, I think I go rook g1. That really makes f5 more difficult to play, and it prepares a possible knight h4, this idea that I just mentioned. Yeah, probably just go knight c5. I don't really think that knight h4, bishop e2 and sacrificing is going to work just like that. h3 might hang with this kind of idea. Even though, I mean, it's not like he has got huge counterplay at the moment. To be honest, I don't see any counterplay. Yeah, I wonder. Some people are really completely fearless and play exactly that. Yeah, hard to believe that this is any good, but okay, maybe he has to do it in order to get something going here, at least not being totally passive. Okay, so it is not a completely clear decision here. There are a couple of interesting options actually. Even knight h4 is not entirely stupid. Okay, normal is g takes f6, yeah, opening up the g file. I mean, I have just played rook g1, so he basically says rook g1 is kind of useless. Okay, so takes, queen takes is only move. And my knight on f3 is hanging. If I just drop it to d2, I don't know, he might even have bishop h6. Okay, queen h5, so that's not going to work. I don't think I want want to allow him to take here, so I probably have to take there anyway. Knight h4 is a little bit interesting. Okay, I'm going to take. So you must take with the queen, I guess. And then what exactly? Yeah, h2, h3 is hanging. Bishop e2 drops the pawn. Yeah, do I really have to go knight d2 here? Knight g5, knight takes, rook takes, bishop h6. It's going to work, so I probably have to go back. Bishop h6, I have queen h5, so this is not going to be a problem. Yeah, f5 was probably okay. I mean, it looks a bit risky to open up the G file, but I don't really have much at the moment there. Yeah, and I really have to worry a bit about the h-pawn. So developing just with bishop e2, he will probably just take that pawn, and it's really not that great. Yeah, good development move. So I think here to get long castles in. And then check what I can do there on the G file. It's really not that clear how to even get doubled there. Yeah, I thought about giving him the h-pawn, but if I let him take this pawn at some point, he also has bishop g4 then. Blocks the g-file. Yeah, that's not that great. Quite interesting. So I must have done something wrong, because h5 definitely is a bad move. I mean, no question. But I didn't punish it. Maybe it was really something with bishop g5 that was better. I don't know. Or knight h2. Okay, the position that we have now is not clear at all. I mean, it's still rather wide, but it's not not terrible or anything for black. c5. Wow. He's closing down the queen side. Why? Okay. So I'm happy about that. So there's no c6, b5, business, whatever. With my king being on that side of the board. Okay, so I don't need to prevent b5 here. If you place that, I'm just going to take it and again be okay about it. So am I playing bishop g2 now here, or how do I get doubled on the g file? I really would like to get that in. I wonder about f3 here. If this is a move, f3, queen to h2, bishop e2, and then double. Maybe this is an idea. Okay, come on, let's do that. That also makes sure that b5 is protected by a bishop. Very difficult position. Typical Kings Indian, hard to understand. It would be great to get the light squared bishop traded. Maybe h4. Okay, so it's planning on b5 later. Okay, this was my idea anyway, so let's play the move. Maybe I could have gone queen g2. How does he cover g6, by the way? Could have done that, maybe. Ha. Okay. I mean, okay, he has king f7 or bishop e8 or something like that, but I should have at least checked the move, if it is worth considering or not. I don't really believe b5 is going to happen now. Maybe he's flicking in a3. Rook a to b8 maybe for b5, but I'm not sure about it. I mean, b5 also trades some pieces that I'm not particularly proud of, like the bishop on f1. King h8 is also a useful move, but hard to tell. I mean, okay, this is one of the moves I at least had on the radar as a possibility. So what about queen g3 and then maybe like h4 and... Okay, I mean, he has to play something awkward against this here anyway. Bishop e8 or king f7. And I want to go h4 and bishop h3. That makes quite some sense, I think. Yeah, bishop a8. That also will make it tougher to play b5. Always has to keep an eye on this. So is h4 bishop h3 still on? Yeah, I think it makes some sense to play h4 here at least. On a very, 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 very good day, I might get in bishop h3, rook d f1 and f4, but has to be very carefully considered as it opens up the g7, the g7 bishop. Okay. Yep, it's covering g6 very reliably at the moment, so difficult to break through. I wonder if a3 is useful, keeping the pawn on a4. Currently, he cannot really do much. Let's do this. I think it's a good supporting move. b5 I can just take and then take g6 at the end, so that's not working. As long as he has the bishop on e8, the pawn on g6 is pretty safe. I'm not able to attack it with a minor piece in any way. Maybe bishop d3 to c2, yeah? Attacking the a4 pawn. That also might be an option. Bishop d3, rook df1, f4. I don't know. I like the idea. If I'm really get to open the position like that, I mean, my pieces are pretty well. Yeah, they are kind of concentrated there on the king side. So maybe bishop d3, rook f1, f4 is somewhat serious. Yeah, it's not at all easy for him to play this position. Yeah, if you notice the small time change there of 10 to 15 seconds, I just took a sip of water and I figured I can pause the video in in a rapid game so that you don't get irritated by the noise. Yeah, what is he supposed to do? Not quite clear. At least I see some ways for me to improve. Bishop d3, I think, is a good square. Yeah, very long term. It might look at the g6 pawn, like after f4 takes, bishop takes, then e5. His knights are not really well positioned for an f4 break. Yeah, I kind of talk myself into doing that, even though opening up the long diagonal is definitely something, as I said, a very responsible decision. I will definitely only play that with due preparation by bishop d3 and rook f1. Yeah, taking some time. Rook g8. Yes, this was something that I felt is a possibility to somehow rearrange stuff. Okay, let's not spend too much time there. Okay, bishop h3 is also not completely off. Yeah, okay, let's do this. If he plays bishop f8, which could be the idea here, then f4 will definitely be strong, hitting him in the center. No, he goes b5. Why is that possible even? Don't I just take g6 at the end? I don't get it. Okay. Is it important how I take? Don't think so. Why is this possible? I don't get the move. Am I not just taking g6 at the end of this? Yeah, it takes a very, very long while to get a high rating in that pool. The highest rated guys, they have 2050. The main reason being that they played more games. In games that you quite often get here, against 1600, 1500 players, you gain 1 or 2 points, and this makes it a very long task to get to a higher rating there. So you didn't expect me to take on b5, or what is it that you that you are saying? Okay, so here I have to go f4. There's really no question about that. Come on. If he removes the bishop from the long diagonal, this is the signal to open fire. Takes, bishop takes. I'm putting pressure on d6 and I have e5 up my sleeve. Yeah, takes on f4, bishop takes. Everything gets taken on b5, then I have e5 at the end. And, while this is very sharp, I don't really believe that this can be good for black with all those weird pieces on f8 and h7 and so on. Maybe he's going back to g7. No, but it's not really doing that much. Can even just take twice on on e5. Just take material. Isn't so bad. Okay, so I decided to capture. Just briefly, is queen f4 a move? Not such a totally wrong idea to trade queens here. Yeah, but I still don't believe it. If he takes on b5 now, I guess he will do that with the knight, and I can go e5 then immediately, and he cannot take because of the queen loss on the long diagonal. Yeah, cannot move the f8 bishop really. Yeah, he probably has to take there. So now e5 looks like the most obvious move, after which he has to move the queen. Yeah, okay. If this is not right, something is really, really wrong here in this game. So let's play it. I think he has to go back to e7 or d8, one of the two. How to play this then? One idea could be to play bishop b5, and knight to e4, increasing the pressure on d6. Here's a light squared bishop. Black's light squared bishop doesn't feel very, very good. I'm doing this. Come on, take here. I can even consider to go e6. But no, it's not necessary really at the moment. He will take with the bishop, and now knight to e4. Let's just briefly reconsider, but I think it looks good. Puts enormous pressure on d6. And the light squared bishop that he has is not doing that much. What is Black's best try here for some kind of swindling? Queen b6. Going for something on b2 maybe. Yeah. What am I threatening first and foremost actually? e6 or taking on d6? As long as I'm not moving that e-pawn, his bishop is not doing anything there on f8. It would be nice to get my bishop on the long diagonal, of course. But probably it's really just e6 and grabbing d6. It's really not apparent what he's doing against it. Just queen b6 maybe, looking at this pawn on b2 with mate. So that would probably prompt me to play something like rook d2. Or rook g2. Not quite sure. Rook g2 maybe. Wow. So he is covering g6. Okay, like e6. If I take d6, one point is that bishop e5 is trading stuff rather quickly. e6, however, is completely killing his bishop here, and I might get d6. Okay, I'm going e6 now. Queen b6, as mentioned, I have rook g2 or rook d2, both of them. But he really has to worry about the d6 pawn then. I mean, queen b6 he can still do because of the mate threat, but next move he has to worry about me capturing that pawn on d6. d6 falls, then those two pawns will be decisive in the center. Tja. Swindle, swindle, swindle. That's what he needs to try to find. Some kind of swindling chances. Queen b6, rook g2, rook d8. Yeah? That saves the d pawn for the moment, but well, it's not exactly very inspiring. So he tries this. So he's got it covered for the moment. It looks better on the F file. I mean, he's not really he doesn't have many moves here. Bishop on e8 is basically stalemated. Can move the f8 bishop to e7, but I just go knight g5. Yeah, I was thinking just knight g5. Just wondering if bishop e5 is something here. It's close to working. No, but okay, this is a simple move and probably just a good one. If you just trade things now on g5, the resulting position will still be very nice. Okay, pawn takes or bishop takes. Yeah, bishop takes is good. Yeah, very good control over this position. Nothing should happen here. He takes g5. There's a number of good end games. Queen g5 is just a simple move. Queen takes, rook takes. Yeah. It looks pretty dominating. Bishop g5. I mean, I can also take with the pawn and continue with queens on the board. Knight e4 and knight e4 and queen c3 then is very strong. So bishop g5, h takes g5. I'll keep the queens on. Good. And I'm threatening bishop e7, knight e4. Keeping d6 attacked and threatening queen c3. Yeah, that should be possible to stand. I don't think that what he did there with c5 and so on, that this was such a great idea. Position felt kind of okay, even though I still don't think h5 is any good. Yeah, pretty much out of moves here. b6 rook covers d6, can go nowhere really. Don't forget that this is increment, 10 seconds, so it's not going to be a flag win here by him ticking down to nothing and me having like 15 minutes. He always has the 10 seconds. But it's really more about the quality of the position. So I'm just taking and go knight e4 as planned. Yeah, now knight e4. What's the idea? Is there anything wrong with it? I don't think so. Rook b3. I'm taking d6 with the queen. No. And the threat is queen c3 now. Or taking on d6 for that matter. Just if he goes queen g7, I really shouldn't ignore the idea of mate on b2. This is something to check. So okay, I'm taking here now. And they have queen e5 as a threat, so maybe queen g7 here. Okay, so here I've got the check.
Check.
And knight f6 check next.
Check. Black resigns.
Okay, so let's have a look at this game. Yeah, this h5 move was very controversial. I spent 4 minutes there. Yeah, a couple of interesting options really. I was interested in this move mostly, but after this, it's clear that he cannot really take. After queen f3, I think the position gets very, very tricky. I get this back and that doesn't look good. But I thought queen e8, and I didn't really see a great move here. Something like this, but is this really complete compensation? I wasn't sure. Something like this maybe, and I'm back. I go back and he goes f5. I don't know. This is something that I saw and it wasn't really convincing me so much. Okay, finally g5. All that looks normal really. And now I went rook g1, played f5. Yeah, or I mean the computer wants to do this. That's nothing I really considered that much. Yeah, I saw this, but I wasn't convinced. Like here. Yeah, engine likes white here, but not much, just half a pawn. Maybe h5 is not that bad, but I don't know. Okay, so this, I mean here it should be something better for white still. The structure is static. I've got more space. And this doesn't feel entirely good, but it wasn't a clear situation at all. But this was really surprising me, that he just voluntarily closes down the queen side and makes this knight look a little bit wrong. I mean, it was clear that he was going for knight c7 and b5, but it doesn't seem right. I felt he should just go knight c5 or c6, something like that. This, for example, castles, takes. Here knight d5 is good. Okay. Yeah, c5 is wrong though. I think he has to be more flexible there. Yeah, now this f3 move, that was probably a good solution. Also given by the engine. f3, a4, and now I went here. Yeah, queen g2 was interesting. I really didn't see, I saw that too late, this move. Bishop e8 looks good now. It's very comparable to the game where he went there anyway. Rook b8. And now I went here. And now back. And h4. Yeah, I mean this must be good now. If he goes b5, he loses this, and he tried to regroup now with this. g8. Okay, the computer already wants to play f4. Yeah, maybe. But I wanted to have all my pieces well positioned. Yeah, this is falling apart. Yeah, engine is on +3 almost. And now it gives the immediate e5, not even trading. But I think I went with this. But now, okay, no, I'm playing exactly the computer line. That's good. Takes, knight d4. Yes, yeah, it's logical, but it still feels good that the engine gives the same moves. Now it wants to take on d6 with the knight. Yeah, not bad. But I felt this is fairly safe. Not doing anything fancy.
Check.
Here. Yeah, so this is
check.
Yeah, it was okay. There wasn't really any improvement that the engine gave here. So probably key moments are, I mean, I still don't believe in h5, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, I guess. And here in this position, he probably should avoid this c5 move and play something normal, a4 or c6 or knight c5, trying to prepare this somewhat better. c5 looks like a wrong closing of the position. Okay, well, thanks for watching.